that. Juan Gonzalez from Mission Foods will be there racing with us. Juan Gonzalez, always one of our best racers. I got to tell you a little story about this, Scott, before we get into Group 9.
Go ahead, Ben.
I saw Juan this weekend at our drivers meeting, and he was there with Butch Leitzinger. Butch Leitzinger is wearing an outfit, Mission Foods, and it's number 18. But Juan is wearing an outfit that says number 81. And I said, well, how come you guys are wearing different numbers? You're driving the same car. And he says, that was my old endurance number, was 18 when Butch Leitzinger drove for him. And he says, I'm 81 because everybody says, hey, Juan, hey, Juan. So he's like, I might as well be 81 because it sounds like 81, hey, Juan, you know. And so he's 81, but he says, sometimes I feel like I'm 01 or 01 because his mechanics will say, oh, Juan, we need more money, or oh, Juan, we need more equipment. So I love that about Juan Gonzalez from Mission Foods. So now look at this. Look at these shots. Look at the tires there. I believe that's Nathan Bird. Yes, that's Nathan Bird in that number 98, the 2008 Elan Mazda Pro. I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're having problems here with our microphones, you know, trying to work in these conditions for everybody as we look in there, and Nathan Bird is tough. But I got to brag on Nathan Bird because as Tony's getting us some great shots of some of his sponsors. Nathan Bird has raced in all but 2 weekends all year long. Like, not just with us. He's raced almost every event with us, but he tried to race every weekend. It just turns out there were 2 weekends that just there weren't any races that he could participate in. But how cool is it that he's out here racing? You can see the rain tires and the grooves. This is a Cahill car here, this Toyota. And if you're ever looking at racing in open wheel cars of this kind of lineage, I definitely suggest that you look into Cahill. They really prepare some great cars. That was Mark Sherwood there in that 1995 Ralt RT41. But Scott, I got to admit, or Dustin Hodges, if you're watching, if you want to come up here and join us in the second floor and tell us about these cars. I just don't know a lot about these Group 9 cars. I'm sure you've got all kinds of knowledge on these Group 9 cars. So tell us a little bit about these open wheel wings and slicks, but now on rain tires.
Yeah, Cahill, as you were mentioning, they're one of the preeminent organizations in the Pro Formula Ford and Pro Formula Atlantic series that they run. But we have all kinds of different cars out here. The Ralt RT41 that you mentioned, that was a Formula Atlantic car, and then it was made into a prototype. Most of the Ralt RT41s were prominent in Formula Atlantic, and then as the Swift came on, Swift kind of phased out the Ralts, but all you did was put some bodywork on that Ralt RT41, and it became instantaneously a prototype racer. We had some Lola T9720s out there yesterday. Quite a number of those were entered. Lola T9720 was the preeminent car that was used in the Indy Lights series. Tony Kanaan winning in the 1997, which I believe all of these Lola T9720s were in the 1997 Indy Lights series. It was developed especially for that series. A Buick 4.2-liter engine in that series. It was Helio Castroneves that finished second that year, and then Cristiano D'Amata who finished third. The driver that has the most experience out there is the number 3, Stuart Crow. That is a Ralt RT40, and that is the same car that he raced back in the day when he won the Formula 2000 SCCA National Championship and ran in the Formula Atlantic Series, which he finished third in. His only win was at Mid-Ohio. Stuart Crow was the Ralt factory development driver for that car, and again, he helped develop the Ralt, not only the Ralt RT40 that he drives, but also some development in the RT41, which we were just talking about. So again, Stuart Crow with a vast amount of experience in this particular car, his old car back from his former professional racing days, and he is very prominent. Nathan Bird is out there. We talked about him racing just about every race weekend. He was with us at Road Atlanta and won the Enduro as well as winning his class. Who else we have out there, Ben? Okay. Okay, Mark Sherwood's, we talked about the Ralt RT41. That's the one that they put the bodywork on, and it became a prototype. It was in Formula Atlantic and was very prominent until the Swifts came along, the Ralt RT41 being phased out. Who else we have out there, Ben? Paul Subject in one of the Formula Mazda cars. This has a Mazda RX-8 Genesis engine in it, and it is very quick. Formula Mazdas was the rate to come up through the ranks into Indy cars back in the day. Not unusual to have 40 or 50 cars for Formula Mazda. Again, Formula Mazda, a development series that led into what then was called Indy Lights or Formula 2000, and then it developed into Indy cars. Ben? Lawn DP08 was an Indy car, sorry, and it was very popular. It was manufactured and was produced by the Elan Technologies group, who bought out Swift, and they were very prominent in the IndyCar series. And then we have John Miro, also in a Elan. Looks like we have a car off there, Ben. Yeah. Mark Sherwood is off course at the turn number 3. So he made it through Mission Foods turn 1 there, Ben, and went through turn number 2. Didn't quite make it to turn number 3 there, just as he was getting up to speed and headed out towards that back straightaway that leads into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn number 5, the bus stop.
Yeah, again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. I'm Ben back here again. Scott Conway is just so full of all this knowledge. I wanted to get that. I honestly don't know too much about these Group 9 cars. I know a lot about Nathan Bird. I've been following him, and what an impressive driver he has been. He did so well in the International GT Series with us Friday and yesterday, winning a race overall. Winning a race, in his class, but then helping out with David Tuwati in the Enduro, doing really well in a Porsche Cup car, but then out here in these open wheel cars. So there's Nathan Bird there coming around into WeatherTech, turn 9. Nathan Bird is in that 2008 Elan Mazda Pro. My friend Dustin Hodges has been helping him out from the PR department. But the cool thing about, like what we were talking about with Nathan, he's trying to race in everything possible, trying to get a professional ride. And if you're looking for some up-and-coming talent, definitely look into Nathan Bird. Loves being at the racetrack, really personable, really good person to talk to, and I'm sure he's building up a big fan base. As we look there, I think that's Matt Clark, and well, there's Nathan Bird back there. And ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. I'm doing the best we can. There is that 3A of Mark Sherwood in that 1995 Ralt RT41. And then that was, we saw Jim Stengel in that McRae GM1 making a pass on Matt Clark. But Mark Sherwood's back up and running, and that car sounds pretty powerful. And, you know, these open-wheel drivers, a lot of them, they're just not that experienced running in these conditions. And then Watkins Glen has a lot of what we call the weepers, but it looks like Sherwood's coming in. He put the visor up. He comes in through the blend line. He should be indicating that he's pitting, which it looks like he is as he comes around Franklin Road, turn 11. Ironically, Ken Twaits from Franklin Road Apparel kind of started in these Pro Formula Mazdas back in the day and was running up against championships of the likes of like Tommy Kendall. And then just like a lot of the drivers in the SVRA field, professional life got in the way. So he went to do that, and now he's racing again. So my friend Boy from New York is online with us here at Speed Tour TV on YouTube. If you know, and I'm sure you know a lot more about these cars than I do, let us know if you have any questions or comments. Or if you want me to just stay quiet and hear the great sounds of these cars, feel free to tell me. But we are trying to work this out as we look at Nathan Bird getting a little squirrely there, coming around turn 8. But he's got a big lead over the drivers. After Nathan Bird is Paul Subject, followed by Matt Clark, followed by John Murrow, and then Mark Sherwood, who we saw come into the pits. So John Murrow is in a 2014 Elan DP08. Matt Clark is in a 2012 Elan DP08. And then Paul Subject, who we haven't talked about, is in a 1998 Star Cars Formula Mazda. But here's the race here. This is Paul Subject in that Star Cars Formula Mazda from 1998. Back to Nathan Bird. So there, no, that's not Nathan Bird. That is the 95 of Matt Clark, 2012 Elan DP08. And these two cars, they don't look like they should be this equally yoked out there. They just look like totally different interpretations of what an open wheel car is. But look at how smoothly Nathan Bird is going through that Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers bus stop and carousel. Kind of using that outside line that we've talked about in these rain tires. With the grip being what it is, it's almost better to run a racing line that isn't the normal dry condition racing line, because that's where the grip is. The asphalt seems to be a little bit more coarse out there, and seems to be giving the drivers what they need as far as grip. You could see them when they're, on normal conditions, they're weaving back and forth on the pace lap to get temperature in their tires. But in conditions like this, they're weaving back and forth to see where the grip is. As we look at Matt Clark in that 2012 Elan DP08 as he comes into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers. And right behind him is Paul Subject in that 1998 Star Cars Formula Mazda. This seems to be the race. I'm wondering what that green light is right above Paul. If you know, please leave a comment here on our YouTube Speed Tour TV channel. Star Mazda was a great stepping stone up to Mazda Pro to IndyCar. See, I'm already getting good information here from Boy from New York. That's what I love about the way that we're doing our live streaming here. Is, ooh, Nathan Bird getting on a little bit too fast there. But I love all the experts out there watching. It's tough for us here in the booth to be experts on every type of car in SVRA when we have 400 different types of cars and over 100 years like we do this year. Of cars. So I consider myself to be a production British car expert. And this is the race to watch here. Number 77, Paul Subject, 1998. Star Cars Formula Mazda. Behind Matt Clark in that 2012 Elan DP08. Side by side as they come around Franklin Road Apparel, turn 11. Ken Twaits, I hope you're watching this. This is kind of your lineage here. I do like that both of them are running the rain lights. And I especially like that Paul is running some kind of like green headlight, indicator light. We were announcing this race here with the Trans Am cars, and in that mixed group cars, the TA cars, they have stickers for headlights. And that gets a little bit dangerous in these conditions because the cars they come up behind and quickly come up behind, I might add, can't see them as they're coming up. And here's a car we haven't seen yet here. This is the white number 99. He must have just joined us, and I'm not getting any scoring on him yet. Nathan Bird, our leader, into lap 4. Look, he looks very comfortable in this car. It's going pretty fast, and he got squirrely there last session with us. Aha, 33. Thank you, Lauren. That's John Murrow in the 2014 Elan DP08. I saw it as 99. Boy from New York is telling us we had a reality TV series for Star Mazda up here in Canada. So, boy from New York, you're in Canada? That doesn't make any sense. And didn't those Mazdas run a support races at Petit Le Mans? I'm sure they did. Everything's kind of run a support races at Petit Le Mans. And Scott Conway, who I'm going to give the responsibilities over to, is anxious to get on the mic because he's got so much great information for us on these Group 9 cars.
To answer your last question, yes, they did run the Formula Mazdas, ran as a support race to the Petit Le Mans. I actually did a couple of the Formula Mazda races there as the preamble to the Petit Le Mans. And Formula Mazda, the boy from New York is exactly right. That was the stepping stone into Indy cars, and it was known to be the development series. The Mazda ladder went through the Formula Mazdas, and a lot of the drivers that were into Formula Mazdas were looked at because these Formula Mazdas were open wheel cars. They had some downforce, they had wings on them. And if you could drive a Formula Mazda quick, as they were spec cars, and you could keep up at the very front of the field, then the IndyCar drivers were, or the IndyCar teams rather, were wanting to at least get you into a test, if nothing else. Those two, the Star Mazda and the Formula Mazda, both of those are pro cars. Again, it was not unusual to have fields of 40 to 50 cars in the Formula Mazda series, again, a development series for IndyCar racing. A lot of the drivers also, because of Mazda having the two ladders, one went through open wheels, the other one went into the Mazda prototype, which they are not currently running, but they did back in the day when we were talking about. And a lot of these drivers were at the Petit Le Mans hoping to get a shot at the Mazda prototypes that were run in the Petit Le Mans. So, Nathan Bird, a full 25 seconds ahead. I tell you, Ben, you're pretty good at picking out these winners. You did very good, I believe, in the Group 8 race, and you're spot on here in this Formula race as well with Nathan Bird, who I agree with you. I think I've seen him race 3 times, and the times that I've seen him, no one could touch him, and he was setting not lap records, but laps that were quick as the Formula 4 or FR America's cars, and that's the style car that he races. And that's what we'll see in October at the Mission Foods Speed Tour at Virginia International Raceway.
As we pass the mic like the Beastie Boys here, we just saw Nathan Bird make an unbelievable pass coming out of the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers bus stop at the end, taking it around the outside. Unbelievable. And speaking of the VIR Mission Foods Speed Tour, October 8th and 9th, you can get your tickets now at virnow.com. It's actually the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. They're doing tickets on our test day Friday. I believe tickets start at just $10. And if you haven't been to Virginia International Raceway, maybe one of the most beautiful racetracks in America, but we got to go back to this because Paul Subject now has taken the lead over Matt Clark as they come down into Mission Foods Turn 1. And this is a very deceiving part of Watkins Glen International because it's a long downhill. But here comes Nathan Bird about to lap the field. Nathan Bird just showing us all kinds of talent here this season. 2008 Elan Mazda Pro. And he's coming up on the back here of Paul Subject and Matt Clark. Mark Sherwood has not come back out onto the racetrack, and John Murrow is just is 2 laps down. But here comes the fight for the finishing out the podium, 2nd and 3rd. Paul Subject just ahead as they come into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers bus stop inner loop, and you can see the rooster tail from Nathan Bird in the background. And I'm sure if his mechanics or Dustin Hodges is seeing this, he's saying you have a chance to lap the field. Now he's within their sight, but look at this. Matt Clark around side by side as they come into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers carousel. As they go down into the boot, still side by side. I don't suggest that, gentlemen. And then there's Nathan Bird blasting through there, showing us the rooster tail and the grip of this car and the downforce that he's getting. This could be a very interesting next couple of turns here with us. And unfortunately, obviously, because of the weather, we can't show this because our drone can't get up into the air. So we're getting some great shots of our flags and our grid and our great marketing partners. And we'll be back here in turn 8 just as they come into view. And I'm guessing that Nathan Bird, Paul Subject, and Matt Clark are going to be real close to each other. We see the fans and the photographers still braving it out. The blue flag being waved. Thank you to the Watkins Glen International staff. Matt Clark now ahead of Paul Subject. They go side by side into WeatherTech turn 9. There's Nathan Bird right in the background. Now this is where it gets dangerous because Nathan Bird, these two, I hope he realizes these two are having their own race. They may not be aware of his presence back there as they come into Franklin Road. Turn 10 and 11. So now it's Paul Subject followed by Matt Clark, spins into the wall. Oh no. Matt Clark got a little bit sideways there. Nathan Bird somehow finds his way through as Nathan Bird now laps the field coming into lap 7 at Watkins Glen International. Oh, that is so unfortunate for Matt Clark. Not sure. I don't think I saw metal to metal, but I think he might have been just a little bit disrupted, not aware of Nathan Bird's presence, or something may have happened. Sometimes these formula cars, they get in each other's wash like that, and in these kind of conditions, that can really disrupt what's happening. So really unfortunate for Matt Clark as Nathan Bird goes up the uphill S's at Watkins Glen, comes around here, this long straightaway into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers inner loop, followed by Paul Subject there. Paul Subject in the 1998 Star Cars Formula Mazda. And Nathan Bird just showing us again the talent that he has in open wheel, in modern cars, in vintage production cars, in enduros. There hasn't been anything yet that I've seen as a challenge to Nathan Bird as we're seeing the yellow flag there at turn 9 or station 9. So that should be the station right before the Franklin Road Apparel turn 10, turn 11 complex. John Murrow just kind of in his own race, probably out there just, I'm going to go out there and learn how to race an open wheel car in the rain, which is very tough to do. Nathan Bird showing us the kind of talent he's got in these downforce cars. And I've got some, Elwood is saying that he got up on the painted curbing. Elwood, I have to agree. Irwin, too bad. Elwood was saying he was here Monday and Tuesday in the rain, and he says that thing is slick. I think you're probably right. And Abel Fox says those things are getting cheeky out there. They were. That's always the scary part that we talk about, Scott, in the when a car is coming up behind two cars in their own battle, a lot of times they're only concerned with what's happening in front of them, and they're not concerned. They're in their own race, so it's up to the Nathan Birds and the drivers, the fast drivers, to make sure they are passing good. And there goes the checkered flag for Nathan Bird coming into Mission Foods turn 1 here at Watkins Glen International for the Hilliard U.S. Vintage Grand Prix. If you've never been here or been to the Hilliard U.S. Vintage Grand Prix, all over the country people ask me, what do you think SVRA's best vintage racer? If I haven't been to one, what's the one you think I should go to? And I say definitely the Hilliard U.S. Vintage Grand Prix or the Mission Foods VIR Speed Tour. Those are two of our premier events. In fact, we end strong here with SVRA. We have a new event in Chattanooga coming up the weekend after VIR, which is going to be really fun. First time SVRA is there. Then we end at our national championship at Circuit of the Americas. But we like to end strong, so thank you so much for coming out. Make sure you come to the U.S. Vintage Grand Prix. We're going to do some results here in just a second, but you can really see how the downforce plays into this here. So Group 9 feature race 2, Nathan Bird, first place in Elan Mazda Pro. Nathan Bird is getting a collection of our SVRA red hats and gold medals all year long. Paul Subject, second place in that number 77 Star Cars Formula Mazda. He was having such a great race with Matt Clark, who finished fourth. Ahead of Matt Clark is John Murrow, the number 33 Elan DP08 MZR. Then Matt Clark, and then Mark Sherwood. And So yesterday's race, we had 24 Group 9 cars, but because of the rain, we only had 5. So we are going to go to a commercial where hopefully we talk a little bit more about the Mission Foods VIR Speed Tour.
Hungry for SVRA action? Well, the best way to enjoy classic auto racing is with a delicious classic from Mission Foods. Green flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.